Hey everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood blacksmith Levi, and today I'm going to be showing you how I make my pattern welded steel rings with silver liners to prevent rust from getting on your finger. Now I don't have a lathe, but there's a very common tool that you can use to help get your ring perfectly smooth, perfectly round, looking exactly like it was turned on a lathe. Now I get a lot of questions about these rings, so I thought I'd put it into a video. I'm not going to be explaining how pattern welding works. If you want to find out how that works, there's plenty of information out there. Do Google search. And without further ado, I got some 1080, I got some 5920. We're gonna slap those bad boys together. Okay, so it's pretty close already, but now I'm going to go drill it out as close as possible to the final size, and then from there I'm just going to file it and use a pair of calipers to make sure everything's going really evenly. Alright, 19.4 millimeters, that's exactly what we want. Okay, so I've ground it to about 1.8 millimeter thickness, and it's going to get a lot thinner, a little too thin actually, but that's just to account for the extra thickness of the silver liner that's going to go in. But now it's time for the cool trick I was talking about to get it perfectly round. And the only thing you're going to need is a drill press. It doesn't have to be a good drill press, just has to do the spinning. So I could use a ring manual, but I thought I would just do it the DIY way, which is actually just to get a step bit, and you can either sand the different steps down to ring sizes, or you can just pad it up with some masking tape until you get a nice press fit on there. And now we're just gonna spin it up and use sandpaper to smooth everything out. Alright, it's completely to shape, just with 120 grit paper. You can see I added a nice curve to the outside. It makes it look a lot nicer. And it's at about 1.4 millimeters thickness right now. Now it's time for heat treatment, which is really easy to do. Propane torch is perfectly good for this. You don't need a forge, it's totally overkill. Pro tip, don't use your massive quench tank for little rings, because I've lost a couple in there before and it really freaking sucks. Quick thing, I find when I'm making the silver liner, to just cut it a little bit short, just a couple millimeters, and then stretch it out to the exact size after it's been silver soldered together. That way it just seems to be much more efficient than trying to nail it right before you solder it. It's just what I found. This is what's called hard solder, and it is 75% silver. So what I just did was I hourglassed the inside of the ring with a die grinder, kind of like on a forged hammer eye, so that when we put the silver lining in, we can flare it out on the outsides and it will lock itself in place. You can also have your silver liner a little wider than the ring so that you can fold the lip over the top and make a rim that goes around outside of the steel, which is what I'm going to be doing. But if not, you need the hourglass shape to hold the silver in place. Alright, now the easiest way I found of getting the liner folded around the edges is just with 2 ball peen hammers. And they said I'd never use a 61/64 drill bit. Alright, it is looking nice and shiny. My advice for anything pattern welded is to take it up to 2000 grit or higher. But now it's time to clean up the silver on the inside and remove the last couple tenths of a millimeter to get it to the final ring size, which in my case is 8.5 or 18.6 millimeters. You can do some file work on these things too if you like. Got around those inside edges out so it's comfortable to wear. Also, putting duct tape on your sandpaper means you can pull really hard without it tearing, and it also adheres to inside contours a lot better. You should only use ferric chloride as the etchant for this because it etches steel really well, and it also leaves silver completely alone. And we'll let that sit for about half an hour or until you get the desired depth of etch. Okay, now to make the etch really pop, we're going to be using instant coffee. Don't use regular coffee, only instant coffee. The cheaper the better, and it's going to be really saturated. So we're going to have about this much coffee. The rest will be boiling water. And that about wraps it up. Thank you so much for watching to the end, and I hope you really enjoyed the video. Now please like, comment, share, subscribe, tell everybody you know, and of course, make something beautiful. Make one of these rings for yourself. They're beautiful, they're a lot of fun to make. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.